Hey guys,
Hello, everybody.
happy Thursday. We're here again.
Another week.
Another week has gone by. It's just crazy. I can't believe we're at the end of November.
No, it's going so fast.
So fast. So I don't know if you guys are starting to feel the pressure of, the holidays are coming and things are ramping up. We went from like having nothing to do to all of a sudden December is like full between Christmas parties and markets, and there's like light displays and Santa Claus parades. Like it just, I seriously had nothing on the calendar for December. And then all of a sudden this past week, it just completely booked up.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys are having a great day so far. We are coming to you live from Alberta. It is about 8:15 our time. And tonight's Let's Chat Thursday, we're going to be talking about neighbors. Now, this could either be a really good topic or maybe not so good, depending who your neighbors are. There's good ones, there's bad ones, there are ugly neighbors. We have definitely had our fair share of all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
We were just going to talk a little bit about kind of our experiences being homeowners and what kind of led us and drove us to the decision to live out on an acreage where we have no neighbors. We have one neighbor right now. She's my mom. She's pretty low maintenance. So yeah,
It's easy.
It's easy. Which, I mean, not all the time. There's always, there's dynamics when you live close to family, but I think it would be different if we lived together. But because we have our own houses and she works full time, and like we actually rarely see her. And apparently lately she's living in the dark. I don't even know if she's home. I like text her. I'm like, are you home yet? And she was like, yeah. I look out the window. I'm like, it's pitch dark. Like I don't.
No, but we're the creepy neighbors that the TV's on. You can see what you're watching.
That's the only way I know she's home is if her TV's on. So maybe you wouldn't want to be neighbors with us if you live next to us. Really
they got the binoculars here somewhere.
Yeah, so some of our neighbors currently too are deer and moose, and we have skunks and porcupines.
We even have a crazy squirrel. He is funny. That snowstorm that we had, he built a tunnel system under the snow, and he was popping up like a whack-a-mole.
It
was hilarious.
I don't know why it was so entertaining, but we must have spent 10 minutes looking out the window last weekend and watching. James and the girls are like, come here. So you look and then you see this little head pop up, and he kind of looks around. Then he goes under the snow, and then we're like, where's he going to pop up?
Yeah.
He'd be over here. Anyways, those are our kind of neighbors.
That's our entertainment.
Yeah, those are the kind of neighbors we like. So basically, like, where we live right now is where I grew up, except where we built our house is where my grandma's house was. So I'm used to living out in the middle of nowhere. That's where I grew up. James also grew up on an acreage just outside of town. So this is familiar to us. This is kind of where I always imagined that we would be raising our children. I didn't actually know that we were going to be on the same yard as where I grew up, but just having their grandparents like super close, like I think that's been really, really special and important to us. And then like James lived in Leduc, which is a small town about 30 minutes from our house. I lived where we are right now till I went to college, and then I moved downtown Edmonton, and I was there from I think age of 19 to 22.
I don't know. I didn't know you then.
I know. I'm just thinking. So I lived with my friend, and we lived in a basement suite by the University of Alberta. She was going to school, and I worked downtown. Well, I worked at the University Hospital, and I worked downtown. So it was super central. And then we left that place, and we lived in an apartment complex right on Jasper Ave, which is, if you know Edmonton, it is right smack dab, middle of downtown, a little chaotic and loud. But you know what? When you're 19, I honestly didn't notice it. It was like exciting to be that close. It was like my bar stage, so we were within stumbling distance down the street to go dancing. And then like my poor mom. And now being a mom, I totally understand. Like Ember keeps talking about how she can't wait to live up high because she wants to live in an apartment building. She's 7, but she's already thinking this far ahead, and it hurts my heart to think of her not being here. But as a mom now, the thought of your child moving downtown Edmonton, where there's a lot of violence and crime, and my mom, when I told her, she was like, yeah, but mom, or maybe we're already living downtown. And she phoned me and she's like, did you know that there was a shooting on Jasper Ave and 109th Street, which was like a block away? And I'm like, of course, mom, I heard it from here. And she was like, oh, like I could just feel her anxiety through the phone. So, I lived there, and then my roommate decided to move out with her boyfriend. So I got a place by my own, and I actually lived by myself for a couple of years, not in the best neighborhood in Edmonton. And that's where I met James.
Not in the neighborhood.
No, not in the neighborhood, but sorry. He still lived in Leduc, but we met online, and I was living downtown Edmonton. And so I think it was a small complex. There was only like 8 people that lived there. And I had a super nice lady who lived next to me. And she was, I felt like she was my mom too. Like she was like, make sure your doors are locked. And, like, if you ever need anything, I'm right here. And, so I was really fortunate to like have really, really good, friendly neighbors. James being from Leduc. So now he has a girlfriend who lives in Edmonton. And he just bought his truck. It's the same truck that you have today, but you bought it brand new. And now you're parking downtown Edmonton.
A very sketchy area. Let's put it that way.
Super sketchy. And I mean sketchy, we called an ambulance one night because some guy was like super drunk and passed out by our vehicles. And I'm on the phone with 911 calling. James admitted later on in our relationship that he's like, Vanessa, when you lived in that apartment, I don't think I slept.
No, it was very hard for me to sleep.
He was so paranoid about his poor truck outside.
At that time, it was a $60,000 truck sitting there I guess you call it the hood.
Yeah, it was probably the hood.
Not a great area, Tom.
So anyway, James had asked, so we got to a point in our relationship where we start talking about moving in together. So I'm in Edmonton downtown. He's in Leduc. So I had said, well, why don't we, buy a house in South Edmonton? Because it's kind of, meet in the middle. And he and again, I was still working in Edmonton. So I thought, oh, that'd be a nice, kind of compromise, right? And James put his foot down and he goes, will not live in Edmonton. Kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, only because I was like, is this how we're going to start a relationship, be like a dictatorship? But honest to God, it was the best decision. I'm so thankful. And I tell him all the time.
I have good ideas once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, we decided to actually buy James's mom's house. So she wanted to downsize anyway and move into a condo, have less yard work. James was moving into, a new stage of his life. So it just happened to work out really well. So when we bought our first house, and this was in Leduc. So it's a smaller community. And this was the older part of town. So the houses were quite small, but the lot sizes were quite big. So, the trade-off there. And our house backed onto a huge green space, and there was a lake behind us. So there was a ton of trails. And actually, the lot right beside our house was empty. So we had no neighbors on the one side, which was amazing because it just felt like your yard was that much bigger. And then on the other side of us was an elderly couple, and they actually still, as far as I know, live.
Yeah, they're still there.
They live in that house still. And it was one of the original, I believe, farmhouses before that area got developed. So tiny little house, super, super nice couple. Oh my gosh, she was so sweet. And, we went to church with them, and so we had really good neighbors, and you'd be carrying groceries in, and she'd be out watering her plants and, ask you how your day was and stuff like that. Or if you're out in the backyard, they didn't have their yard fenced. They had this huge garden in the backyard. It felt like a storybook almost, with all of her plants. And
yeah.
Anyway,
a huge garden too.
Huge. So super nice couple. I couldn't have asked for a better experience for my first home that I owned. They anything that you needed, they were there for you. And because it was a small community, we knew actually quite a lot of people on that block as well. I had actually went to school with the one girl that lived right across from us on the other side of the street.
All right. Yeah.
So, it's the only disadvantage to small town though is that I think people don't have a lot to do. So this empty lot that was beside us, we parked our trailer there, and that was a deal that James had made with the property owner, because he owned the property but lived out of town. And so he would, ask James, hey, like, can you just kind of keep an eye on the property, shovel the sidewalk in winter, that kind of thing, and then you can park your trailer on my lot.
Yeah. It's a pretty good
for
deal.
An exchange. Yeah, good deal.
I did it for years.
Yeah, you had that arranged before we had even met.
Way before I met you.
Yeah, and well, so one day, then I don't remember if it was a call or we got something on our door, or I don't know. Anyway, we got this notice, and I don't remember, but that from the city saying that we can no longer park our trailer there. Well, that's awfully odd. We've been parking it there for how long? And so we had phoned and we're like, what do you mean we can't park our trailer there? And I don't remember what the reasoning was.
It blocked the view.
Well, yeah, there was complaints from members of the community that it blocked the view to the lake. Well, if there's a house on that lot, it would block the view to the lake anyway. And like, I don't know if people thought that we were just parking our trailer there because it was vacant and they didn't know, obviously, that we had an arrangement with the property owner or not. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I found out years later, because we used to own a business on Main Street in Leduc, and talking to one of the other business owners, that they actually, because we had our house for sale, we've obviously moved since then. And I don't know if she said that she had looked at the house, or she was like, oh yeah, there's this empty lot, blah, 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 not far from where I live, and yada, yada, yada. And, she says there used to be this trailer parked on this lot, and my ear kind of perked up, and I was like, oh yeah. Anyway, she goes on to say, she's like, oh yeah, I put in a complaint about that trailer. So I just looked at her, I said, yeah, that was our trailer.
Oh, you should have seen her jaw drop. What? It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Just FYI, like, we did have permission to park our trailer there. Oh, I had no idea. Obviously, yeah. So anyway,
and she didn't even live on the street.
No, it's just because she was driving by, and it was blocking her view of the lake. Well, if you want to see the lake, go on the path and walk around the lake.
Exactly.
So anyways, that was, I can't complain. That was the only kind of, I don't know.
That was pretty much the biggest drama that was there.
Drama. Yeah. There wasn't much drama at that house. So then we decided to build a new house, and we moved because we wanted something a bit bigger. So we built a brand new house. So it was a developing neighborhood. So everybody was new to the area, right? Like everyone is just building at the same time. So it's actually a really unique experience doing that as well, because we got to know everybody because everybody was new. Yeah. It's not like you're the new person to the block and you don't know anyone. It's like, no, everybody doesn't know anyone. So, we all landscaped together. We pitched in and bought dirt together and helped each other landscape and borrowed rakes from our neighbors, and it was kind of like.
We even borrowed rum and beer too.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I didn't really borrow.
Burnt pallets together, all the sod pallets that got left behind. One night we were having a fire at our neighbor's house and we needed more firewood. And James goes, oh, I saw some stuff out here. So he goes and grabs it, comes back, burns it. And then I don't know if it was like a week later or something, or one neighbor was like, I had a deposit, or I had to return that pallet.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Sorry. So that was really fun to do that as well. But there's always got to be one in the crowd. So when I talk about ugly neighbors, this guy was an ugly neighbor, and it wasn't just, I'm not just saying that, like, it wasn't like we just had beef with him. Every single person in that neighborhood, like,
let's put it, they knew who he was.
He made it.
Didn't have to say his name, but the minute he mentioned the problem, they knew who he was.
Yeah, like, he made it a mission to make everybody mad.
Yeah.
And we had to share a fence with him. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
He, I don't know, no one could really figure out what was driving the behavior, why he was so nasty to everyone, just didn't cooperate, super rude. His wife was a cop, so we just kind of assumed they would be a really nice couple. She was civil, but she also didn't do anything to curb his bad behavior, which I also found a little bit discouraging, because this was how the base of our relationship started. Was we were, we have our trailer, and so we'd come home from camping, park in front of the house, offload, and then James would take the trailer out to the farm here and park it. So we'd really be in front of our house for 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, tops.
We would hardly get parked. And I mean, this is how fast this happened. We would park the trailer. I would go in the house with a laundry basket, unload it. 2 minutes later, turn around to come back out to get more stuff out of the trailer. And he went out and moved his car from across the street and nudged it up to the bumper behind our trailer to prove a point that we were too close to his property line. So I came out and I said, "Can you move your car, please?" "Well, that's my parking spot." We need to get our trailer out. If you could please back up your vehicle so that we can move our trailer. And then he gave us the gears about how we were parking too close to his property. And I'm like, yeah, but this is temporary. We're literally unloading our trailer and then it's gone. Like, it doesn't sit here for more than half hour at a time. Yeah. Like, so, stuff like that. And we had friends over. This was before our driveway was even poured, and we were having a housewarming party. And he had, again, moved his vehicle bumper to bumper with one of my friend's vehicles. And I mean, not even just like moved it close to, like his vehicle was touching my friend's vehicle. So I stormed over there. I just couldn't contain myself anymore. And I just, I banged on the door and I said, "You need to move your vehicle. Like, you hit my friend's vehicle." I didn't hit her vehicle. I said, "Well, your vehicle is touching my friend's vehicle. And for what reason? There's absolutely no reason for this." So we got in a huge yelling match in the middle of the street. And I don't typically act like that, but like, honestly, like dealing with this guy, just my blood would boil. And, I was yelling at him and I'm like, "I'd call the cops to come here." "Oh, wait, your wife is one." There's no point, and I had said to him, because like I said, our driveway wasn't even poured. So at this point, our fence wasn't built. And I was like, is this really how we're going to have a relationship? Like, I don't expect that I, have to have relationships with our neighbors that, if I need a cup of sugar, you're going to like, it doesn't have to be to that degree, but there should be some sense of like being civil to one another. Right. So anyway, James later on, because that was in the winter. So come the next spring, so we're putting in a fence. So he had the pleasure of building a fence with this man. Yeah. And he was going on a rant about something. And James just literally looked at him and was like, "Why? Why do you act like this?" Well, what did he say?
What do you say again? Is people...
Shoot, I can't remember.
People expect me to be like this, so this is the way I am, or something to that effect.
I can't remember what he said, but basically he knew he was being a dick and everybody knows it. And so that's just how he is.
Yeah.
Awesome. He caused us to move. That I don't have enough time tonight to even go through a laundry list of this, all the stuff that this guy did to us. But we were legitimately scared he was going to throw poison over our fence for our dog, or we would come out and our tires would be slashed. Like, that is the extent of how uncomfortable that we felt in our own home. And I said to James, I'm like, "I'm not into it. I don't want to live here." And so we were looking around because we're like, "Hey, well, I guess we'll go and see what's on the market." And we were driving around other neighborhoods and nothing caught our eye. Like, we were like, nope. And when we had built the house that we were in, we actually made the garage larger. We extended it 2 feet or it was 2 feet wider. And I think it was 2 feet longer or something to accommodate James's baby.
To accommodate the truck.
Yeah.
So we built the house around the truck.
We really did. We moved the garage door to get into the house to a different part of the house. So the stairs could be on the one side so that your truck fit, and we could put the tool bench and stuff in the garage. Yeah. So anyway, so looking at pre-built houses, you drive down the street and you would literally just see truck on the driveway. James goes, "That's because none of them can fit in their garage."
No, they're all too small.
Yeah. So he was like, "Not going to do it." So, and we were just kind of tired at this point. We were just kind of done with having neighbors so close. And like, we had a bigger, it was an average size lot compared to the way, like where his sister lives now. They literally call it zero property line, and you can
put your arms out
and have a
like
beer.
this, and you can touch their house.
You can have a beer with your neighbor by being on your deck and just reach across.
Yeah,
like
you
you
literally
can
pass them a drink.
I don't
across.
know. To me, I don't
That's
like
a little
that.
too close.
It's like I like people and I'm a people person, but honestly, like I still need some space at the end of the day. So there, that led to us. We were talking to my parents about, you know, our options and this and that. And they actually were the ones that threw it out there and said, why don't you build out here? And it kind of both, we were like, oh, well, we didn't even know that was an option. And so we kind of, you know, percolated it for a bit and talked about things. And at the end of, and we went and looked at more properties, I think, in town. And after we were like, you know what? I think it might be a really good choice for us. Like my parents were aging and it's a big yard. Like we have 3 acres of grass to cut. So we thought, you know what? It'll kind of be a win-win. We get some space and we can also be here to help support them and help around the farm and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we ended up doing and have not looked back since.
Yeah, no, it's been the best decision that we've made.
Even when we go visit some friends, you know, love you to pieces. We'll never stop coming to your house, but can't stand the parking. Lack thereof.
That's an understatement.
Cannot handle it. So, you know, no offense to anyone who lives in town, but we are very grateful that this opportunity came up for us. And like I said, now our neighbors consist of wild animals. And I don't know if you guys can see this comment here. Thanks for watching, Amanda. So Amanda is my cousin, and she actually lives across the highway. So she is our neighbor. So we lucked out there as well. One of the best. We love you, Amanda. So anyways, you guys, that's how and why we ended up where we are today. We've had some good, bad, and ugly neighbors. I hope that you definitely have had better experiences than we have where you live now. Thank you for watching. Say hi in the comments. Love to know where you're from. And next week, we are talking about our ocean experiences.
Ooh, that's fun.
For Let's Chat Thursdays. I really miss the ocean.
You and me both.
And sand between my toes. And the kids' sandbox does not count.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. All right, guys. Hope you have a great night. Tomorrow's Friday. Weekend.
Have a good weekend and next week.
Yeah. Talk to you
Talk
soon.
later.
Bye.